Well, now, we're back. I'm happy to see you, and I appreciate you tuning in and joining me for this time out, little coffee break as I call it. And I got this idea in my mind. It just popped into my mind, and I kind of wondered about it. I was listening to someone talk about their plans for the next 5 years, their 5-year plan, and all the changes they're going to make as a result of what their ideas are and what they want to do and where they want to go and who they want to be, etc., and so on. And they're going to completely change their life from the way it is right now. And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. They're working hard to reinvent themselves, which I mentioned in the last video. I've been noticing people do that. But they're going to make some changes that they feel are positive changes for them. They're not letting anything stand in the way of their plans. And I think that's good. Just because we're kind of sort of on a pause and a hold and in a standby mode doesn't mean we can't make plans, we can't be creative, we can't reinvent ourselves, we can't find things to do with ourselves, and we can't be who we want to be as a result, right? And the thing that hit me in the discussion while I was watching this person discuss their plans was that they referred to it as their bucket list. And I've had friends talk about checking things off their bucket list. One that likes to travel quite extensively, who I'm sure is not doing that now, but they were. And they would check things off of places that they've been, places they wanted to go, and things like that. And I think that's pretty neat. And I stopped for a second as I was thinking about that and listening to it, and I thought, bucket list. There's a movie out about bucket list with Robert, who is it? Well, I know it's Morgan Freeman, and I want to say, Jack Nicholson, called The Bucket List. And they were a couple of older gentlemen who were trying to take the best of the time that they have left on Earth to go and do things that they wanted to do, just to have a good time. And that's a different kind of bucket list to me. At the same time, you get a lot of people young people who are making bucket lists, and they're basically finding things that they want to do and trying to find a way to get it done and say that they did it. Whether that be bungee jumping off a cliff in Costa Rica or sailing around the world or something like that. A lot of these bucket list items seem to be pretty big things. And I found that I was looking at myself and thinking, have I really ever done a bucket list? Have I ever really written out a bucket list and said that I want to do this? I mean, I always think of things that I'd like to do, but I don't really, make a list and say, this is my list of things that I want to do eventually and want to work real hard to get done as far as a bucket list item. And I got to thinking about that compared to my to-do list. I always have a to-do list every day. There's something I want to do, and I never get anything done on the to-do list that is 100% complete. I do things, but I don't do everything. And I'm thinking, what's the difference between a bucket list and a to-do list? You might want to share your thoughts on that in the comment boxes below. But to me, a bucket list are things that you value as a human being, that you want to do in your life, that appeal to your sense and sensibilities and who you are as a human being and what you're growing into or what you're becoming, who you are. And those things that you just want to see or be a part of or do at some point in your life. Where a to-do list is like, these are chores that I have to do and get done today, obligations and responsibilities. That's what I'm thinking the difference is between a bucket list and a to-do list. But at the same time, I realized I don't think I've ever done an official bucket list. I always have my to-do list. And even recently, when I made a whole list of places that I want to go and do some individual solo outdoor hiking and exploring and romping around, I really felt it was more like a to-do list than it was a bucket list, like I'm looking to explore what's around me and in my backyard without going too far and making it a day trip. So, but at the same time, I'm thinking, well, no, that's kind of like a little bucket list, isn't it? I mean, I think it is. There are certainly places that I've always wanted to go and try to hike up and see what the Kelso Dunes were, right? And I did that recently. So I guess I did something that I wanted to do and see and explore, and that's what should be on the bucket list. Responsibilities, chores, and things that you have to do to get done, like laundry, grocery shopping, change the oil in your car, things like that. That's, I guess, just to-do items. That makes sense to me, right? Anyways, I guess if I'm going to share, I would share that if I were to put together a bucket list per se, things that I'd like to do. Well, places I'd like to go anyway. Certainly as far as international travel, I've always wanted to go to Australia and of course India. And those two places are high on my list, I think, of places to go. I probably would go ahead and explore more of the United States in areas that I've not been to. And I've seen a lot of the United States through being on tour, but not there. I haven't been to all the states. I certainly haven't been to Alaska. I haven't been to North or South Dakota or Nebraska or Idaho or anywhere up in that area. And I'm just trying to think of some states that I've really not been to. And there's supposed to be a lot of beautiful places to go see. So, I mean, and that makes sense that there are a lot of people out there who like to do their van lifing or RVing, and they get out and about and explore the United States when they retire or when they're young or right now when they don't have anything else to do and they're possibly able to do that, because they're staying in their car for the most part and outside for the rest of the day. And so I guess that would be included on my bucket list as well. I certainly would like to think about maybe even living in a different place that is someplace that I have never been to before. Sort of exploring the unknown that way. Getting away from the world as I know it is another way of describing that. And I've done that when I've gone to Africa. And which reminds me, I want to do a video and share some stories about my time in Africa. And so I'll do that real soon. And gosh, I would like to paint and put that creative side of myself where I want to create artwork. I want to do that. But I haven't done that yet. I used to, when I was a kid, have sketchbooks and draw on them all the time. But I haven't done that in years. So, I mean, I'd have to really sit down and think and write out a bucket list. It's not as easy as it sounds. I don't just want to put down anything on the list. I want to put things on the list that make sense for me, things that I really want to do. And of course, I love traveling. I love exploring. So that would be something that I would be interested in doing more of and putting on my bucket list. And of course, sharing that with people is always good. So I will continue to try to do that through YouTube videos like this one. Other than that, I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that. Maybe even do another video down the road about what could be on my bucket list. But definitely want to do some traveling, I think, where I can go to other countries like Australia and India and do some, exploration of what's in my own country that I haven't seen yet. And that happens a lot. So I want to encourage people to do that, because there are so many times where I have lived in a certain place and there are things to do in that area that I've never gotten around to do. And why not? You're there. Go ahead and do it now. And so I want to encourage people to do that. If there are things in your area that you know that you'd like to do and you haven't made time for it yet, go ahead and do it. Find a way to do it now. And then that way you say you could do it, And so that's what I'm trying to do right now, for sure. I wasn't really thinking of it as a bucket item list, but I guess it is. And that is to see some things that are in the area that I haven't been to before. And I have been doing that a little bit. So I guess kudos and thumbs up for me, because I am doing a little something. So I guess to conclude this video on the difference between a bucket list and a to-do list, I guess even though I have a lot of to-do lists all the time, I guess I have a teeny little bucket list going. I'm going to continue to try to grow that, and I encourage you to do the same. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your experiences, your observations, and what you're doing in reference to bucket listing and accomplishing those goals on your bucket list. So leave them in the comment boxes below. I'd love to see them. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscription button and the notification bell for future videos that are coming forth. And until I see you next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.